My loving audience, take my love and subscribes my channel. Was this really just a simple mistake born of a natural disaster, or are we finally seeing the brutal unmasking of a marriage built on a foundation of lies? Well, think about it for a second. When the people who call themselves the gatekeepers of Fairmont Crest finally lose control, the fallout is always way more devastating than the actual storm. We have to dive deep into the absolute wreckage of what was once the perfect romance between Nicole and the mysterious Dr. Kial Rollins. We've all been watching this slow burn connection, thinking Nicole finally found her safe harbor after the mess of her divorce from Ted. But the funny thing is, spoilers are now screaming a different story. We're talking criminal undertones, a dead wife who is very much breathing, and a level of deception that makes everything else look like child's play. Is Kial really a healer, or is he actually the impaler pulling the strings of a dark organization while Nicole was busy falling in love with a ghost? What do you think? Was she just a target all along? Let's set the stage because things are getting messy. Nicole walked into Uptown like someone who had finally shed an old skin. She didn't necessarily need someone to love her right away, but she wanted to see herself as a truly free person. Freedom was the one thing she had traded away for way too many years just to keep a failing marriage from collapsing. She thought she could just postpone her happiness until the kids were older or the family's reputation felt solid enough. But it turns out, that stability was just another lock. Even after her divorce, she still felt watched and silently judged. So, she tried to change everything: new hair, new clothes, a sharper smile. But behind that surface lay a simmering anger at herself for ever accepting a life defined by someone else. That's when Kial showed up like an old memory, smelling of danger and mystery. He has that posture of a man who always knows how to make you believe he's both accidental and totally in control. He didn't need many words to pull Nicole into his orbit. He just understands how to stand still in exactly the right place and let the silence do the work. Don't you find that stillness a little creepy now that we know his secrets? Now, here's where it gets wild. Kial told Nicole this heartbreaking story about being a widower who was rebuilding his life after his wife died. He painted himself as this traveling physician, a man of the world who was athletic, personable, and spontaneous. It was the ultimate trap. Why would a man lie about his wife being dead? Well, in my opinion, it's the ultimate sympathy hook. A widower feels safe because his past is finalized. There's no ex-wife drama to fear, or at least that's what Nicole thought. Kial used that lie to bypass her natural defenses. He knew she was fleeing a marriage where she felt judged. By pretending he had lost everything, he made himself the healer Nicole thought she needed. But think about the psychological layer here. Kial uses his money, his job, and his intellectual persona to make everyone think he's a good guy. He's got that medical jargon down, which he actually admitted was his biggest fear in his career. He's leaning into this character, but is he leaning into a lie? The ambush at Uptown was a masterclass in psychological warfare. A woman storms in and immediately confronts Nicole. But she didn't react with a jealous rage. No, the sources say she had a surgical coldness. This wasn't a woman who lost control, she was a woman with a plan. She looked at Nicole not with emotion, but with information. That calm is way more dangerous. She claimed Kial with total authority, saying, "He's my husband." The shock Nicole felt must have been bone deep. She had finally taken a risk, finally touched the fire, only to have it blow up in her face in front of the whole town. And the kicker? Kial's reaction. He didn't jump in to protect Nicole. He just stood there and observed. To me, that's the hallmark of a manipulator. He was evaluating the results of a social experiment. Does that sound like a man in love to you, or a man watching a trap spring shut? We have to talk about the daughter, too. Kat, or Kat, was right there to witness the whole thing. In a place like Fairmont Crest, coincidences don't just happen. Someone likely ensured that girl was there to see her mother caught red-handed. If you want to destroy a woman like Nicole, you don't just take her reputation, you take the respect of her child. By orchestrating this encounter, the criminal wife ensured Nicole would be isolated. Nicole has spent her life trying to be the perfect mother image this community demands. seeing that collapse in seconds while her daughter watched as a wound that might never heal. She wanted to explain, but she also wanted to scream that she owed no one an explanation. Can you imagine the pressure of that moment? It's like being back in a windowless room, but this time, the person holding the key is Kial or his dead wife. And let's look closer at this criminal connection. Spoilers suggest Nicole catches Kial secretly meeting with a person named Rin in a meeting that is described as intense and highly confidential. This raises huge red flags. Could a skilled orthopedic surgeon actually be the leader of Plus Marrying, the criminal organization everyone is terrified of? If Kial is the impaler, then his wife's arrival takes on a whole new meaning. She isn't just an ex, she's likely a high-ranking member of the crew. She didn't come for love, she came for an objective. Maybe she came to remind Kial of his contract or to get rid of Nicole, who was becoming a distraction. If that's true, Nicole isn't just a woman scorned, she's a witness who knows too much. It turns her heartbreak into a literal fight for survival. Do you think Kial is actually capable of being a mastermind like that, or are the writers just using him as a massive distraction while the real impaler stays hidden? The funny thing about truth in these stories is that it's usually just what the person with the most power says it is. Kial has the authority heuristic on his side. People trust doctors. They see the white coat and assume he's one of the good guys. But Nicole is starting to see through the mask of sanity. She's noticing that the wife's arrival was too precisely timed. She's going to start digging into his history as a traveling physician, and she might find out that Dr. Kial Rollins isn't even his real name. This investigation is about to go in a very dangerous direction. Nicole has already made a firm decision to end things. She refuses to be trapped in another dishonest relationship. She's already faced enough heartbreak, and she isn't listening to excuses about complicated marriages. But Kial isn't just going to walk away. He has to decide if he's going to fight to win her back or just accept that he's destroyed her trust forever. Think about the psychological toll this takes on a person. Nicole is basically in the bargaining stage of grief right now. She's reevaluating every kiss and every spontaneous moment, looking for the criminal underneath the surgeon. Her anger is her only defense. If Kial really is a predator, he didn't just want to be with her, he wanted to invade her life. He even moved into her place while his son, Noah, crashed in his. That's a classic move to integrate yourself so deeply that it's harder for the victim to cut ties when the truth comes out. But Nicole isn't a victim anymore. She's a woman who has learned how to say no. I find Kial's attempt to blame a complicated marriage totally laughable. There's nothing complicated about telling someone your wife is dead when she's standing in the middle of a club. That's a choice. It's a binary lie. Where does this go from here? I have a theory. I predict that Kial and his criminal wife might actually be in a dark alliance. They might realize that if one of them falls, they both do. We might see them agree to keep each other's secrets while they keep manipulating the families of Fairmont Crest. The wife isn't there for romance, she's there to protect the business. And what about Kat? I'm worried she might be turned against her mother. If the wife or Kial can convince the girl that Nicole was the one being unsteady, they could drive a permanent wedge between them. That would be the ultimate win for a guy like the Impaler, leaving Nicole totally alone. It's a heavy thought, right? The atmosphere in Fairmont Crest is basically a post-truth state right now. There's so much gossip and so many viral stories that the actual facts don't even matter. Nicole is fighting to reclaim her own narrative, but the community is just waiting for her to stumble so they can drag her back to where they think she belongs. She's at a crossroads. Does she stay quiet and let the story be told the way others want it? Or does she fight back and maybe spill some honor's blood at Uptown? If she fights, she gets her life back, but it might get messy for her daughter. It's the choice every woman in that town fears. And through all of it, Kial stays unnervingly calm. That calm is the final spark. Nicole realized she can't count on anyone in that room to protect her, not even the man she almost kissed. She can only count on her own anger. So, let's look at the future impact of all this. Nicole's discovery is going to push the whole investigation into Plus Marrying in a new direction. More shocking secrets are definitely coming to light. Is Kial really the mastermind, or is he just a playa who got caught in his own web of lies? I agree with the fans who want to see more of Kial's story beyond Nicole. He's a mixture of both the good guy and the twisty character, as Greg Vaughn put it. He's got the money, the occupation, and the intellect. But does he have a soul? Or is he just discovering things about himself that he hasn't been able to do before because he's playing an original role for once? He told us to get our popcorn because it's going to be magical, but I think magical might be code for disastrous for Nicole. So, what do you think? Do you really believe Kial loves Nicole, or has he just been using her as a cover while hiding his real wife? And is the wife actually a criminal, or is she the only one trying to stop Kial from destroying another life? This marriage, and this romance, is in critical condition, and I don't think there's a donor match in sight to save it. If you want to stay on top of all this drama and see if Kial finally gets unmasked as the Impaler, you definitely need to subscribe. You don't want to miss a single second of this fallout. Hit that like button if you think Nicole needs to run as fast as she can, and let me know your wildest theories in the comments. Is Kial a hero for trying to start over, or is he just a pot stirrer with a dark secret? Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay skeptical, keep asking those questions, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. This storm is only just getting started. You know, the funny thing about these soaps is how they mirror real life sometimes. We see a headline or a tweet and we think we know the whole story. But there's a deeper knowing that comes from being a fan. We know the patterns. We see Kial meeting Rin and we immediately think the worst. But is that just us being cognitive misers? Are we just taking the easy path to the most dramatic answer? Or is our gut feeling actually right? The emotional truth is that we want Nicole to be happy, so we feel the betrayal just as much as she does. It's like losing a bit of our own safe space. When Kial lied about his wife's death, he didn't just lie to Nicole, he lied to all of us who were rooting for them. That's why the simmering anger in the fandom is so real right now. We're all marching for facts, but we're also unbelieving the unbelievable. Think about the method acting that must be going into this. Greg Vaughn has to bring this vivid and detailed portrayal to life, knowing he's playing a character who is essentially a predator in a white coat. He's tapping into those feelings of calculated narcissism. And Nicole, played by Daphne du Plessis, has to show us that transition from a free woman back into a sinner in the eyes of the town. It's heavy stuff. It's a commentary on how fragile freedom is. One minute you're kissing a handsome doctor at a club, and the next, your whole world is being rewritten by a woman you thought was dead. It's a flagrant violation of the truth. My prediction is that June 21st, 2026, is going to be a huge milestone for this storyline. If Kial hasn't been fully exposed by then, the word count of fan anger is going to hit the roof. We're going to see a rise in citizen journalism within the fandom, with everyone writing their own endings because the show is keeping us in such a fragmented state. We're getting bits of info that only point to other bits of info. It's all very abstracted from real life, but it feels so personal. Why does it feel so personal? Maybe because we've all felt that surgical coldness from someone we thought we knew. Or we've all had that moment where we realized a fresh start was just a new way to get hurt. The sources show us that Kial is a master of the authority heuristic. He's got the occupation and the money to control the narrative. He's a free active agent in the story, and right now, he's winning. But Nicole is the detective of her own life now. She's not just going to sit back and let him slaughter her trust. She's going to fight back. And that's the most exciting part. We're watching a woman realize that her freedom wasn't just about leaving a marriage. It was about the courage to take responsibility for herself, even when the whole community is waiting for her to stumble. So, let's talk about it one more time. Do you think the meeting with Rin was just a business thing, or was it a wholly invented news report of a life Kial is trying to fake? And if he doesn't come clean soon, are you going to consider this whole show to be in a post-truth era? Your voice matters in this, and I love seeing your theories. The fact that we're even debating the morality of these characters shows how much they inspire us and help us understand the real world. If you found this deep dive into the heartbreaking reality of Nicole and Kial's future interesting, Make sure you let us know. These emotional truths are a lot to handle, but we can handle them if we stay engaged together. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next check on all the rumors. Hit that like button if you're hoping for a massive comeback for Nicole, and leave a comment with your wildest impaler theory. Is he coming back with a secret that will finally take the whole organization down, or is this the final goodbye we've all been dreading? Stay skeptical, keep asking the hard questions, and I'll see you in the next one. We're in this together, Fairmont Crest and all. Let's really get into the weeds of that Uptown scene again. Can you feel the air in the room? It stopped being flirtatious the second that woman walked in. Nicole felt her heart race, but it wasn't just desire. It was that aggressive need to prove she could choose her own path. She wanted to show the world, and those invisible eyes of the town, that she didn't need permission. But then, the space was sliced apart. That woman didn't come in screaming. She didn't grab hair. She was cold. That calm is what got to Nicole. It made her feel like she was being dragged back into her old role, the wife on trial. Nicole hates explaining herself. She hates being turned into a story for other people to tell in their living rooms. And she especially hates the thought of caught hearing a twisted version of the story from strangers. Doesn't it make you wonder who really called Cott to the club? Was it the wife? Was it Kial? Or was it some anonymous friend who wanted to see Nicole fall? In a place where every coincidence has a hand behind it, you have to assume this was a targeted strike. Cott's gaze wasn't just curious, it was the look of someone being pulled into a truth she wasn't ready for. Nicole's heart clamped tight because she feared her daughter's judgment more than anything else. She was angry at herself, angry at Kial's silence, and even a little angry at Cott for being the witness that made her feel like a sinner. She spent so long trying to be the composed, respectable mother, and now, for the first time, her daughter sees her as a whole human being, someone who desires, someone who strays, and someone who makes mistakes. Would Cott accept that, or only the image? So, let's keep the conversation going. Do you think the Ren character is a partner in crime or a secret relative? And what's the deal with Noah, Kial's son? Is he in on the impaler business too? Or is he just another pawn in his father's game? There are so many layers to peel back. Every time we think we have a handle on Dr. Kial Rollins, another secret pops up. It's like he's a traveling surgeon of lies, cutting through lives and leaving emotional debris everywhere he goes. But Nicole is shedding that old skin for real now. She's not going to let anyone rewrite her life again, not a new man, not a cold woman with a scalpel gaze, and certainly not at the cost of her daughter. She's hardening her anger into a bitter oath. She's reclaiming ownership of her narrative. And honestly, I'm here for it. I think we're all here for it. We want to see her win. We want to see her step through the traps and come out on the other side, even if her hands get a little dirty. Because that's what real freedom looks like. It's not pretty, it's not perfect, but it's hers. So, one last time, subscribe, like, and tell me what you think. Is Kial Rollins the ultimate villain or a good guy hunk with a twist? Is his wife a criminal or a victim? And what is the real goal of plus marrying? Your theories are what make this community so great. We're navigating these spaces together, seeking the truth in a sea of colored information. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's see what else the gates of Fairmont Crest are hiding. Because you know they're hiding a lot more than just a dead wife. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to read your comments. It's going to be a wild ride, so get your popcorn ready, just like Greg Vaughn said. But maybe keep a little extra for when the real impaler is finally unmasked. I have a feeling it's going to be someone we never suspected. Or maybe it's been staring us in the face the whole time. What do you think? Is it Kial? Or is he just the distraction? Let's find out together.